Hi, third grade. It's Miss Holt. I'm here to help you with the work for Wednesday, April 15th. So if you look at what it asks you to do, the first thing it asks you to do was to reread the stories from Monday and Tuesday, The Noisiest Cat and This Is Not My Cat. So I have gone ahead and copied and pasted those stories into the Smart Notebook so that you guys can read along with me as I read this. So I'm going to start with The Noisiest Cat. It says, Melissa had a cat that loved her too much. The cat was named Roger. He was an older cat, about 10 years old, Melissa guessed. She knew because her parents told her they got Roger not long after Melissa was born. When she was little, Roger was little too. They would run and play and fall down together. Now that she was bigger, Roger was big too. Very big. Possibly, she thought proudly, he was the fattest cat in town. But more importantly, he was the sweetest. When Melissa watched TV, Roger sat on her lap. When she did her homework, he sat on her paper. When she ate, he ate too. Everywhere Melissa went, Roger followed. That cat loves you so much, Melissa's mother would say. He doesn't know what to do without you. Most of the time, this was great. Other girls had dolls. Other girls had stuffed animals. Other girls had guinea pigs and hamsters and hermit crabs, pets that were usually in cages or tanks. But Melissa didn't need any of that. She had a big fat kitty that followed her everywhere. Yes, it was all pretty great until Melissa tried to go to sleep. At night, Roger would sit outside her door perched like a hen on an egg. All night long, Roger would wait for Melissa to wake up. At first, he would wait quietly, but after a few hours, he would start to get impatient. Every night at around 1 a.m, Roger would start to yowl. If you do not have a cat, you do not know what an awful noise a yowl can be. Cats make lots of nice noises, like purring and meowing and sneezing, but a yowl is not nice at all. It starts deep inside their throat and moves up slowly, getting louder all the time. Yow, Roger would say over and over again. It sounded like he was being stepped on. He sounded like he was in pain, and it woke Melissa up every time. Her eyes would pop open. Her stomach would twist up. She would lie there for hours listening to Roger's awful cry. No human is strong enough to sleep through a yowling cat. Mom, Melissa would say the next day, Roger was yowling again last night. He kept me up for hours. Oh, sweetie, Mom would say, he just can't stand to be without you. He loves you too much. Why don't you just open your door and let him in? Melissa tried this once. When Roger started yowling, she stomped across her room and opened the door. He bounded in. She lay back down and tried to go to sleep. She couldn't. It isn't easy to sleep when a cat is walking on your head. She moved Roger, but he came back. She hid her head under her blanket, but he just poked her over and over again with his paw. When he started to yowl again, Melissa got fed up. She jerked the blanket off her head and stood up. Oh, no, you don't, she said. No yowling in here. She put Roger out into the hall where he started his song again. Mom, she said the next day, Roger kept me up all night. First he walked on my head and then he kept yowling. Oh dear, said Mom. I guess he just loves you too much. I have an idea. Take this spray bottle to bed with you. When he starts making noise, just give him a little squirt. Cats hate water. He'll run right away. That night, Roger started yowling on time at 1 a.m. sharp. Melissa was waiting for him. She gave him 3 quick squirts with the bottle, and he ran away. She said, now I can get some sleep. But 5 minutes later, the cat was back, yowling away. Over and over, she squirted him, and over he came back. What a piece of junk, she said, and threw the bottle in the trash. Outside, Roger yowled some more. Fine, she shouted. You win. She opened the door, and Roger bounded inside. Soon he was sound asleep, cuddled on top of her head. Melissa didn't care. She would rather have a cat for a hat, she decided, than a cat that wouldn't be quiet. Okay, so that's the end of the first story, which was The Noisiest Cat. Now I'm going to read the second story, which is called This Is Not My Cat. She sat in front of the window, curled into a ball, feverishly licking herself. She was brown, black, gray, and orange. All the colors a cat can be swirled into a crazy patchwork. She looked like she had been the sole witness in the explosion of a paint store. You are a lovely, very lovely cat, Aggie said. I wish I knew what you were doing here. The cat looked up and meowed, as if to say she was asking herself the same question. Aggie had come home from school that day, same as always. She had fixed herself a plate of graham crackers and peanut butter, same as always. She had sat down on the couch to watch afternoon TV with the cat, same as always. Only one thing was different. This was the wrong cat. Aggie's beloved cat, Princess, was jet black and on the heavy side. This interloper had an air of the jungle about her. She was muscular, smaller than Princess, and apparently much more fit. "What did you do to my cat?" asked Aggie, her mouth full of graham crackers. "How did you get in here? We don't have a cat door. We didn't leave any windows open. Did you teleport in through the glass? Or have you always been living in the house and you just now decided to show yourself? Do you have an evil plan?" Although it appeared to consider her words carefully, the cat said nothing. Aggie turned off the TV in disgust. She was going to have to deal with this herself. Taking the cat in the crook of her arm, she carried it outside. The cat wriggled in her arms, but Aggie held her tightly. "I've already lost one cat today. I'm not losing another one." She peered under the bushes, behind the garbage cans, and in the secret corners inside the garage. Princess was nowhere to be seen. As she grew desperate, she even looked in the mailbox. The longer the search went on fruitlessly, the more the strange cat twisted in her arms. Finally, she started to hiss and claw. "Fine, you want to come down, you come down." Aggie set the cat down carefully. It did not run away. "That's right, you stay close." As Aggie walked, the cat walked beside her, showing no inclination to run. A few times it crept off silently to nose into a patch of overgrown grass or bushes, apparently helping in the search for Princess. They found no sign of the vanished kitty. "I guess I should try to figure out who owns you," Aggie said. She knocked on her neighbor's door, and Mrs. Munson opened it. She was a crag-faced woman whose constant scowling made her look older than she really was. "What do you want?" asked Miss Munson, suspicious as always. "My cat Princess is missing, and do you think I'm stupid? You have a cat right there." "I know, but this isn't my cat. You see. So now you want two cats? That seems awfully greedy. Actually, I wanted to ask if this was your cat. I hate cats." "Do you know who she belongs to, or have you seen any other cats wandering the—" "No, unlike you, I have more important things to do than think about cats. Goodbye." When Mrs. Munson slammed the door in Aggie's face, the strange cat rubbed her head against Aggie's ankle in sympathy. The next neighbors were less angry, but no more helpful. No one had seen Princess, and they had no idea whose cat this was. And even though nobody was quite as mean as Mrs. Munson, they all gave the distinct impression they did not care about Aggie's problem. "You lose a cat, you find a cat," said Mr. Tanner. "You break even. What's the problem?" "But I want my cat." Mr. Tanner shrugged and closed his door. Aggie and the strange cat padded to the edge of his front lawn to sit on the curb and sulk. It was getting dark now, and Aggie's parents would be home soon. She had two mysteries on her hands, where this cat came from and where her cat went, and felt in her bones that if she let the sun go down without solving them, she never would. Beside her, the strange cat crouched and began to purr. There was something in the bushes. "Princess?" Aggie called. The bushes rustled louder. The strange cat lowered her stomach to the ground and pulled herself through the grass like a soldier might. Without meaning to, Aggie mimicked her, crouching as low as she could without falling over. They crept forward together as the bushes rustled louder and louder. Aggie leaned forward, one palm in the dirt, and tore the bushes open. The cat pounced, startling the shadowy creature hiding inside. "Princess?" asked Aggie as the animal turned and ran away. She was about to go after it when a glimmer of light from a passing car illuminated it briefly. "Unless Princess was dressed up for Halloween, that was a raccoon. That's my mom's car. Let's go home and see whether or not we can explain this mess." Aggie hefted the cat and trudged home. She opened the door and cried a forlorn, "Hey, Mom." "Hey, sweetheart," said Mom. "What's going on?" "I've got some news about the cat." Aggie walked into the living room, making eye contact with her mother and preparing to deliver the bad news, but her mouth couldn't form words. There was Princess sitting right beside Mom on the couch, same as always. "The cat, sweetheart?" The strange cat entered from outside. "We have two of them now." Mom looked as surprised to see the new cat as Aggie was to see the old. As the two cats met each other, Aggie stared at Princess, dying to know where she had been. Princess looked at her, black eyes shining, and yawned, as if to say she would never tell. Okay, so that's the end of that story. So the next thing that it asks that they want you to do is compare the two stories. So I've already done that, but I'm going to read over how I answered each of these questions. This will be the column for the noisiest cat, and this will be the column for this is not my cat. And if they both have something in common, I will put it in this column. So it says Melissa, for the first question was, what are the problems in both stories? So for the noisiest cat, the problem was that Melissa's cat wouldn't stop yowling at her bedroom door at night, which was causing her to lose sleep. For this is not my cat, the problem was that Aggie's cat, Princess, was missing, and a different cat that was not Aggie's had shown up at her house. So what they have in common is that both stories have problems that involve a cat. Now the next question says to compare the actions that Melissa and Aggie take to solve their problems. So in the noisiest cat, Melissa tried letting the cat in, and he kept trying to lay on her head. She tried spraying the cat with water, but he just kept coming back. Finally, she decided to just let him in her room so that he wouldn't yowl, even though he might lay on her head. And then for this is not my cat, it says Aggie walked around the neighborhood with the stranger cat looking for its owner while also looking for her cat. When she went home, her cat was there, and she decided to keep both cats. And for both, it says both characters tried to solve their problems in multiple ways. So if you remember, Melissa tried many different things. She tried keeping the cat outside of her room. She tried letting her cat in her room, spraying it with water, hiding under the covers, and then finally she just decided to let the cat stay in the bedroom. And Aggie tried multiple ways. She walked around the neighborhood. She looked under the bushes. She knocked on the neighbors' doors to see if the new cat was theirs or if they had seen her cat. And then it says, who does a better job of solving her problem, Melissa or Aggie? Support your answer with evidence from both stories. So this is kind of more of an opinion as long as it's supported with evidence and your answer makes sense. You could have answered it either way. I could have found a reason to argue for Melissa or Aggie. So on each side, I put how they solve their problem. Melissa solves her problem of her cat keeping her up yowling by letting her cat in the bedroom. While this may cause the cat to try to lay on her head, she decides that she would prefer that over hearing him yowl. And Aggie doesn't find the owner of the stranger cat and decides to keep it. She's unsure where her cat was, but when she arrived home after looking for it, the cat was sitting next to her mom as always. So both of those have evidence from the story. And then I said, I believe that Melissa does a better job because she eventually stops the cat from yowling. Aggie doesn't find the owner of the other cat, and she didn't actually find her own cat. The cat returned on its own. So in my opinion, Melissa did a better job of solving her own problem because she does solve the problem of the cat yowling. Now she might start a new problem of the cat laying on her head, but she decided that that would be okay with her. So that is your reading portion. Now the writing portion, it said to write a story or a paragraph, explaining whether or not you think it's a good idea to have a pet. So I wrote my own paragraph. Now remember, a paragraph is multiple sentences, and your sentences need to be complete ideas. So I said, I believe that having a pet is a good idea if you have the time and money that you need to take care of it. Pets are loving and help to keep you company when you are alone. Sometimes pets can protect you from other animals or people. Pets are loyal and fun to play with. As long as you can give your pet everything it needs, then having a pet is a good idea. So notice on my complete paragraph, I started with my sentence of explaining what I believe about having a pet, and then I gave you reasons why I believe it. I didn't just say my answer and then that was it. I told you my answer of what I believe about having a pet, and then I gave reasons to support it. And that's what you should be doing with your paragraph, as well as putting complete sentences. Remember, a complete sentence always starts with a capital, always ends with some sort of punctuation. Okay. And then the next thing it asked you to do was some math. And it says the first thing it asked you to do was Dreambox. And you're going to do Dreambox for 20 minutes and then write down whatever game you chose to work on. And then it has your word problem. And it says a video store has 1,328 movies that can be rented. What is 1,328 rounded to the nearest 10? So what I did is I went ahead and put that number here. And then underneath, I put the rounding rhyme that I know most of you should be familiar with. And as a reminder, it says circle the place, look next door. If the number is a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then the circled place remains the same. If the neighbor is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then the circled place goes up by 1. All numbers in front stay the same. All numbers behind 0 is your name. So the first thing it says to do is to circle the place. Now, the place that we're going to circle is the tens place, because that's what we are rounding to. That's what the question is asking us to do, is round to the nearest 10. So we're going to circle our tens place, which is the digit 2. And then we're going to look next door. Now remember, your next door neighbor is always going to be on this side. Never to the left, but always to the right. So I'm looking next door, and I have an 8 next door. So now I'm going to go to my rhyme. So at first it says if the number is a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, but I don't have any of those. So I'm going to go to the next part where it says if the neighbor is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then the circled place goes up by 1. So under my 2, I'm going to go ahead and write my new circled place, which is 1 more than 2, which equals 3. And then it says all numbers in front stay the same. So that's a 1. This is not easy to do without an actual pen. So that's a 1 and a 3 because they stayed the same. And then all digits behind 0 is your name. So your answer to 1,328 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 1,330, because that is the 10 that is closest to this number. Okay. Now the next thing that your packet is asking you to do is a science experiment. And it says to go ahead and mix liquids with water to see if they dissolve or not. Now, if you guys recall, we did an experiment exactly like this in class, so that's why I'm not going to do one on video for you right now, but I will remind you of the one we did in class, and then you can feel free to do one at your house, separate from the one we did in class. So in class, we mixed vegetable oil, we used red vinegar, we used that Mio liquid that flavors your water, and then we used blue Dawn dish detergent. And we mixed those with both hot and cold water to see how they dissolved in each type of water. So if you guys want to try that at home, you can try with any of the liquids that they suggested in your packet. There's also a really cool experiment you can watch that they put in your packet as well. So hopefully you guys will go ahead and do that and have some fun with it. All right, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to email your teacher and let them know. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. I'll see you soon. All right, bye.